and you may go ahead and begin.
Good afternoon, everyone who is in attendance to this introduction to eProcurement 101. I am Pam Walker-Smith, a project manager within the department. Project manager. Project coordinator within the Department of Procurement Services, up under the deputyship of Benjamin Ho, and our unit is named as application support. One of my many job tasks that I do is one to present this workshop onto you as our newest process since really 2017, being eProcurement and iSupplier. What is eProcurement? How are you to access the iSupplier portal and online bidding? How to register? How to view your bids or solicitations? How to respond to a bid or solicitation? And again, any questions that you may have, you can write them as the thought comes to you in the Q&A, as Jackie said, and at the end of the presentation, I shall answer. An overview of the program. eProcurement, it is the enhancements, City FMPS, our financial management procurement system that is in Oracle that applies to the web technology to the acquisitions of our goods and services for the city. The iSupplier portal is a full service resource for our vendor doing business or who may be interested in doing business with the city of Chicago. All DPS bids, RFQs are advertised through eProcurement. And what that means is that we're no longer doing paper bids where the vendor would drop off a paper bid in the bid and bond room and down in the lobby of 101. Now all bids are electronic since 2017. The City of Chicago has implemented the iSupplier portal online e-procurement system for all purchasing activities. As a registered vendor in the iSupplier portal, you will be able to view and respond to bids and solicitations online, view orders, payments, invoices, past and present, update your company information with contacts, address, phone, and email. To assist the vendors in the transition to the iSupplier portal and online bidding process, the city developed the eProcurement microsite. It is a website of how-to manual to eProcurement. The website address is www.chicago.gov/eProcurement. It is your manual to eProcurement, all things eProcurement and iSupplier. The iSupplier portal and microsite security, please be assured that vendors that your information is secure. The city takes security seriously and ensures all information is encrypted. We use the protocol HTTPS that is also found in all security web pages, the same as banks and logins. You can be assured that your solicitation is not visible to employees or other vendors who are bidding on a solicitation. It is secure. You are the only one who can see your actual bid. First time vendor registration. Logging in and registering. So existing vendors with who currently have a vendor number with the City of Chicago, but you are not an iSupplier vendor, and in order to bid on an electronic solicitation, you must now be an iSupplier vendor. You would click on Request an iSupplier invitation and follow the prompts and fields provided for you to be accepted into. New vendors, those are vendors without an existing vendor number. You must click on New Vendor Registration and register. What is needed is a W-9, a PDF of your W-9, your tax ID number. If your PDF is not attached, your registration will be returned for you requesting more information. Please note, vendors, The legal business name of the company must match the company name that is on the W-9, or your registration again will be returned. So if you have a DBA name and you want to use your DBA name must be on your W-9. If you have a DBA name, but you just using your company name as like the parent company name, then that's the name that's, that's financed with. We're going to create the vendor code for you to bid on electronic solicitation. So it's very important that you fill the W-9 out correctly as how do you want to be paid by the city? How do you want to be registered as a vendor by the city? So that's why it must match. Your number must match. Sometimes I see sole proprietors who now have a business name still use their social security. That doesn't, but I can see that it's a legal business name, but I see a social security number, or even vice versa. They'll use their common name and have an FEIN number there. So it's all questionable. So a statement will come to that vendor requesting more information. This is the microsite right here. We call it the iSupplier portal. Pay attention, please, to the orange ribbon. We'll go from left to right. Home, which is the landing page that we're looking at now. Login and registration. This is the button that you would click to log in and or to register. Your current bids and solicitation opportunities. This is what we call our abstract. You will get a view of that during this presentation. But to see what is currently an active bid out for solicitation, you would click on current bids and solicitation opportunity. Online training material. This is where you're going to go to find out, how do I do? What do I need to do? Can you help me, please? It's here on online training. Delegates we do not use because it is particular to the delegate agency departments within the city of Chicago, and procurement does not support. Help is your help resource, and we will look at these things within this presentation. So on our landing page, we are speaking to our executive order, and we also are showing you how often we have an eProcurement 101 workshop. Our next one after this date is November the 18th. Vendor registration and existing city of Chicago vendors. Oftentimes, a lot of times, I get phone calls from vendors who state that they have a vendor number with the city of Chicago, but they can't find their vendor name, or they need help. So I'll ask them for their vendor number, and I know in the vendor number that they give me doesn't sound like our generated number in the system. Or I'll ask them for their vendor name, and I'll look them up, and I can't find them. And one of the reasons is because they're not a city of Chicago vendor. They're actually registered with our sister agency. Okay, so they're registered with City of Chicago, or the CHA, Park District, Public Schools, the MacPier. Quick story. I helped a gentleman who actually had a vendor code for CPS, but he just knew that it was for the City of Chicago. But everything that he was telling me was geared to CPS. And so I had to log into the CPS's system so that I can find him to assure him that you do not have a vendor code with the City of Chicago, and the payment that you're trying to receive is actually for Chicago Public Schools, because he didn't know how to navigate through Chicago Public Schools either. So I was glad to help the gentleman, and it took quite a bit of my time to do that. But I wanted to assure him that you don't have a vendor code with the City of Chicago, and we don't owe you money. So I say all that to say, we are not in collaboration with our sister agencies at this time where we're sharing vendor numbers. You need a vendor number for the City of Chicago to do business with the City of Chicago. The only collaboration that we have with other entities is Cook County, and that is for certification. If you have an MBE WBE certification, then that certification does collaborate with the City of Chicago's certification department. So you can still use that certification, but that's it, not your vendor number. If you're doing business with Cook County, you have a vendor number with Cook County. That vendor number is for Cook County. And any of these other entities that you see listed here, we are all separate in and of itself. So you need to request invitation if you currently have a vendor number with the city, or you're going to need to register straight out. So now again, with new vendor registration, you will click this button here. And if you get stuck, you can click in the blue area up under the new vendor registration, click on that link, and it'll walk you through registering. Again, a W-9 is required to register as a new vendor. Current bid and solicitations, that is our abstract, and we will take a look at that. It also allows you to register on this page as well by clicking the registration page link if you know that you do not have a vendor number for the City of Chicago. On this page as well, it speaks to our pre-bid and our pre-submittal conferences and any non-eProcurement bid and solicitation opportunities. At this time, we do have a couple of other departments non-eProcurement bid and solicitation opportunities on our website, but that is because those departments are not presenting electronic solicitation. It doesn't happen often, but when it does happen, we have to post it on our website. So in that extent, it's not a Department of Procurement Services solicitation, so to speak. It is another usual department within the City of Chicago's non-eProcurement bid solicitation. This landing page is the page of our current bid opportunities. This is where our paper bids do reside here. When we have a paper bid that we must post to our DPS web, i.e. what I just spoke to, some usual departments may not have an eProcurement solicitation, but we have to post their solicitation to our webpage for the public, to the webpage so that the public can see. So it would be posted here under current bids as well. Below that here where it reads download the bid opportunity listing. When Jackie was speaking to DPS alerts, if you're signed up with DPS alerts, you also get alert of the weekly bid opening listing of our current solicitations that will be bid. I can't give you a time period, but it's refreshed every Monday with new and upcoming solicitations. So everything in October up to November for certain is on our bid opportunity listing. So it's very important that you sign up for DPS alerts vendor so that you can get the weekly bid opening listing as well as whatever events that DPS may be having. On this page right here, we speak to the bid conference attendees listing. So we thought it important that because the pre-bid conference, because there generally is for every solicitation a pre-bid conference, that we show you how to look at what other attendees may have been at that conference and you may not have attended. So then that way you'll see who the competitors are for the solicitation. Some people say it's a little intimidating trying to navigate the website. So when you come to Procurement's website, you go to the blue bar link down here, go to what we do. And here with the drop-down menu in contract administration, it's just about everything you want to know contract related in the Department of DPS, as well as how to get to the pre-bid and the pre-submitter conference and attendees. And what that is when you attend a pre-bid, you have to either submit a business card or fill out the register, and then that register is uploaded to our website as transparency of the vendors who attended the pre-bid conference. As you can also see on this page, that you can get the current bid openings from here. You can look at awarded contracts from here. So it's really a bird's eye view of our entire website in this one section right here, contract administration. The takeout list is the list of the vendors who were interested in the same solicitation as you. And it works just the same as our pre-bid conference attendees listing. You want to know whom else may be interested in the same solicitation that I'm interested in. Did they have they viewed the PDF and taken it out already? Or did they attend the pre-bid attendees list, the pre-bid attendees conference? Here you can see all of that. The takeout list means that once you go into the eProcurement system, you've logged in and you downloaded a PDF of the solicitation, you're automatically registered from your login ID and the other particularities of your vendor code, like your vendor name. Now you're on our takeout list, and that takeout list is generated to our web page every day. But as often as someone is taking out the solicitation, it generates to our web page automatically. So now you get to see whom else may be interested in the same solicitation, but do know that no one can see anyone's bid at all. This is an example of what the takeout list would look like if you wanted to search and say, hey, here's the takeout list. I'm wondering if, for our example, if FH Pension had an interest in the solicitation that I'm interested in. All you would see is that FH Passion has taken out a spec. So from the table below of FH Passion, which was just a fuzzy search for a vendor who may have taken out something, we use FH Passion. And on the left side of that table, that's the spec number of the solicitation that you're interested in. So it will note whom is the vendor and what is the spec number, their phone, their firm, their address, and their phone. This is what we call our abstract. It is located at the eProcurement Bid and Solicitation Opportunities button, and the page that results is what we lovingly call our abstract. This is in kind to the bid opening listing, but it looks a lot different because this is for you to be able to, one, download the PDF, and two, begin to, once you log in, you can log in from this page here and enter in the solicitation number, and you can begin the bidding process by filling out all the documents and forms and doing the uploads that you are required to do. So let's take a look at the abstract from left to right. We have the name of the department who is letting the contract out. We have the contract type, which is now entitled events. Terminology changed once we started doing eProcurement. So a lot of terminology changed. So event is actually the contract type. For the first one being in streets and sand, the contract type and its event is commodity. Program model we do not use. The RFQ number is actually your solicitation number, because your document is going to say, it's going to read RFQ 7317, but the system reads it as solicitation number. Specification number, guys, and eProcurement, when you log in, specification is actually title. So it's just not the terminology change. So you can search if you have to do a search by title, spec number. You can search by RFQ solicitation. Our solicitation title is always preceded. I'm sorry. The solicitation title is always preceded with the spec number. So it's spec number, and then it's, I'm sorry, not title, but it's actually description. So the solicitation title, name, prior plus description. And it's always preceded by the specification. Advertisement date is the date that is in the paper. The supplier response start date is the same date that is actually in the paper, but you can begin to start filling in what you need to fill in for the solicitation. The supplier response due date is the bid opening date. So the supplier response due date is the date that the bid is going to open and be read in our bid and bond room. Protected markets mean if it's a SBI or a target market or MBI, it should be marked in that column. The deadline for questions is very, very important. Deadline for questions is when vendors, all of you vendors, may have a question concerning, pertaining to the solicitation. We turn your questions into an addendum so that all minds are clear on whomever's question, because their question may be your question, but you didn't ask about that question. You had another question that you wanted to answer. We're going to filter all of your questions, and then that question will turn into an addendum that you're going to have to acknowledge. And you will receive notification of when there is an addendum to a solicitation. To the far right is details at the eyeglasses. The eyeglasses enable you to look to view the PDF without a download. You can just view a PDF of this list. So after clicking on the PDF, from left to right, we have three identifiers to this one solicitation in 3 different views. Okay. The first one is the view that I just walked you through. The middle section is a vertical section. The vertical section of the horizontal view, kind of like a little bit easier to read, maybe. It's speaking to events, the solicitation number, the specification number, and its title, when it's advertising, and when it's open. At the bottom, that is the document itself. This is the solicitation itself. Once you click on, now you have 2 sections. You have document very at the top up here that says PDF file. And then you have document right here in the middle section, PDF file. You click on that file, and that file is going to enable you to download it and save it to your desktop so that you can begin to fill out the solicitation itself. So now, you've registered, you received your temporary password, you've changed your password to your permanent password, and now you're ready to have access to the solicitations. You're in Oracle now. So our first viewing is what the login screen will look like, your username and your password. Upon registering into ePROCUREMENT, your username will be your email address, always. The middle section is what you would, once you've logged in, you'll see 2 folders. One folder is the City of Chicago iSupplier portal with invoice creation. The other folder is City of Chicago online bidding. The third section of this screenshot is we clicked on the first folder, City of Chicago iSupplier portal with invoice creation, results in this table setting. Here we have 5 tabs: home, orders, shipments, admin, and finance. Orders, shipments, and finance are all finance related. It's not procurement related. But you are able to look at your orders, you are able to look at your shipment, and you're able to look at payouts in finance tab. The admin tab is my favorite because it is strictly for the vendors to update their vendor record. Okay. So here you are able to update your address. So if you move, you are no longer at the address that you see that would be possibly a site A, and you move from there, you're able to update that address, or you're able to add an address. You may have more than one location that you want on your City of Chicago's vendor record. You can add an address there. You're also able to add contacts. So you can add your other contacts and provide them access to iSupplier. The business classifications DPS does not use, but I highly encourage you vendors, if there's any documentation like your cyber drive, that's, or any other legal business documents that procurement that you want in your vendor record. Generally, it's apropos for our delegate agency departments. They upload a lot of their business documents that's most likely required by our delegate agency departments into their vendor record because they'll be doing business with the city for a while. So you have that ability to do. Our second view is to discuss the iSupplier portal with invoice creation folder. So right now you've logged in and you're not ready to look at any orders and payments or anything. You're ready to, you're interested in bidding on a solicitation. You would click on, again, the iSupplier portal with invoice creation. It's going to drop down the you're going to click on the City of Chicago online bidding folder. Then you're going to click on sourcing, and then you will click on sourcing home. And once you click on the sourcing home page, it's going to give you your negotiations table. In the middle is your work list. And the work list, it will be a listing of your interactions. It will be a listing of if you've had online discussions with the procurement specialist. It will show you what it'll show you your quote number. So it's a work list for you, and it's mainly a read table, and you're able to see your activity there in your work list. Below is the negotiations table, and when we go to search for a solicitation number, that will drop down into this table. As you see, it's blank because we're brand new vendor coming in, so we don't have anything there yet. But once we start submitting solicitations and looking at solicitations, that information will be on this table below. So the table legend for your active and draft responses are your response number. Once you hit save, and you're in solicitation, and once you hit save, you'll garner a response. Your response status, very, 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 very important. You always want your response status to know that I've submitted an active bid. You want your response status to be active. Requires, resubmission requires means that I submitted a bid. In this example, the solicitation number actually is 6187, 2. Anytime there is a comma after the RFQ number, that means that there is an addendum. And the resubmission required means that you must acknowledge If you don't, you do not have an active field. As well, the other response status that is not on this table is draft. Okay, very important. A lot of times the vendors think that they submitted an active solicitation because they went in there and they, touched some stuff and did some things, but they didn't. But they didn't submit it, but they saved it. And once they saved it, it's a draft. It's not an active status until you get to the very last page and sign it electronically, does it become. So always be conscious of your response status, that you want it to be active, that knowing that you submitted an active field. So we now are going to search. Here we have title, is the spec number. From the drop-down menu that's at the top up under the tab named Negotiation, we'll search Open Solicitations. You can search by title, number, contact, category, line, or event. Our most common uses are title and number. Title is, again, the specification number, and number is the RFQ. You can also do a fuzzy search. So fuzzy search is, you're busy, you haven't had time to actually look at a solicitation just yet. Oh, I remember that, we want to bid on the City of Chicago's open solicitation for whatever. I can't remember what all of the numbers is, but the last time I looked at it, it started with a 7. So you can do a fuzzy search. Just put in for the RFQ number at the number column, let's put in the number 7 and then hit go. And when you hit go, it'll return all the solicitations that start with that number 7. And hopefully you found your whatever number that you're looking for. And hopefully it returns the solicitation that is actually beginning with that number. Now, the table from left to right, after you have located your solicitation, is just telling you that what your solicitation number is, the spec number with the description, who is the procurement specialist, is up under contact. That is your point of contact for the solicitation for the City of Chicago, not the using department who's letting out the contract, but the contract administrator in DPS who prepared the solicitation for the using department. Okay, that's your point of contact when we get to discuss about online discussion. It tells you how much time left you have before the solicitation closes. It gives you your close date. It lets you know that your response is sealed and that at this moment, for this example, there are no responses, 0 responses from the company. Now you're inside of the solicitation. We have a disclaimer there for you to read and to acknowledge. So once you've read the disclaimer, you must click in the box and see the check mark and then hit accept. Now you're ready to go. Once you're into the solicitation, you have 2 folders. One is your header folder and one is your lines folder. Tabs, sorry. Your header tab, your lines. Up above, let's read. Negotiation, active, solicitation. Your quote number. Once you get in, you've generated a quote. You're generating a quote, and you will get your quote number and the RFQ number to which you are submitting a solicitation to. Below you have title, preceded by the spec number and then the description. It tells you, gives you your vendor name And that's all that pre-populates into that form. Then below that, we have attachments. And here is where you will upload any attachments that are required from this requirements page. Your header page is your requirements page, and we're going to go through. So the first one, the first items on the requirements page are the key solicitation parameters. Now, what this is a information provided to you from DPS. When the procurement specialist preparing the solicitation provides you with if there are any City of Chicago business preferences, and these preferences are slated for you to want to participate in. It's up to you whether you want to participate in it or not. It's a yes or no for you. But we're informing you that here we have city business preferences. And we have included in this solicitation local manufacturing preferences, and then alternative oil. We will tell you if, well, the funding source is generally the city, or whether it's federal. However, the solicitation itself will be funded. The funding numbers are there. The DPS unit, so it's mainly like the type and or event of the solicitation. So this type is a commodity, right? There are drawings included in the solicitation. It gives you its terms, and it tells you that, yes, a pre-bid, there will be a pre-bid conference. That is what this section of the requirements is speaking to. Below that are the responsibilities of the vendor. No white boxes can be omitted. Every box must be filled in, or you will receive an error message when you attempt to submit. Okay? Always, always look at the top of your the top page of your solicitation, not the first page, but just the top, wherever you at. Just look at the top and ensure you don't have any red marks or any red writing, because that means there's an error somewhere. Something is required that you did not do. All of the white boxes must be filled in. Sometimes, depending on the type of contract, generally construction, because it has a lot of lines there on the requirements part of the vendor, it'll have go to pages 23-60. And that's actually sitting right in the middle of this section here. It may be sitting right in the middle and you may miss it. So go up to be aware of the top of your solicitation, this requirements page, to see if you have any errors that you may need to correct. So the first box is another disclaimer or point of information. And in that you can put in it. Now, just like for registering for iSupplier vendor code, and let me backtrack on that part. You're not, if you are currently a vendor with the City of Chicago and you currently have a vendor number, you're only registering that same vendor number to be an iSupplier vendor. So now that contact name that's inside of that vendor record will be able to submit the solicitation. So I don't want you to think that you're getting a new vendor number. You're not. You're just being now acclimated to be able to submit an electronic solicitation. And with that, we said that a W-9 is required because we may not have your W-9 from your old file. So we're going to ask you for that. So we need your W-9. Here for solicitation, what is a requirement is the EDS number and the EDS certificate. Can't leave that field blank. Okay, it must be filled out. You must put your number inside of that field where it reads, enter the EDS number from your EDS certificate and attach the certificate. Because if you don't attach your EDS, then you're found not responsible. Then below that is the commodities. This is the event type or the DPS contract type is commodities. And these are the requirements of the vendor to fill out that they submit. So here we have like one of them, well, this one here is speaking to what are you? A corp, a partnership, a JV, or a sole proprietor? You can only be one. So one is going to be yes, and the others are going to be no. White boxes must be filled in. Down below, do you want to accept any of these bid incentives that we have for you, vendor? Yes or no. And then it can go longer depending on the contract type or what it is that the procurement specialist and the user department deem a requirement of the vendor to provide us a yes or no answer to. Now you're going to have to attach your attachment, your insurance doc, your EDX, your business contact information. Any documentation that is within the solicitation that requires signature from the vendor, all those things must be uploaded. You will put the specification number first and then what it is. Title, number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, colon, insurance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, colon, EDS. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, cyber drive. You can add another and add another and add another. You don't have to close this out and then add and then upload again. You can just continuously add until you're done. Now we're on the second portion of the solicitation. You satisfied all the requirements. You went back, you looked at it. There's no errors. There's nothing written in red at the top of the page. Like up here, I hope that you can see, like up here in the blue portion of the solicitation box, it'll be red in there. And that's where it's going to tell you if you have any errors or not. So you passed all that, yay. Now you're ready to submit your proposal. So proposal, or in the new terminology, is lines. Okay, so now you're ready to bid on the lines, and you're going to submit it by unit price quote. The estimated quantity is exactly that. It's not so much in it. It's really a dollar value, but we're not looking at it. The estimated quantity is really, we're not looking at it as the dollar value itself, but it's self-generated there for you. It's auto-generated there as estimated quantity. And then your quote unit price. How much can you provide at this quantity measure? How much can you provide? This is what is going to be your quote. The system is going to add it all up together for you. You don't have to do the math. So now at this point, we have entered our quote price unit, and we have hit save. And now it's confirming that your quote has been saved as a draft. Now remember, that's your response. You haven't submitted it yet. You're just saving it. Because we have 25 days time left over to the far right. We have 25 days to look this over and see if we need to add to it, take away from it, do better, whatever. Yes, we are interested in these incentives. At first we wasn't, but now we are. You can change your yes. You can change your no to yes and vice versa because you have time left. Okay, so your response status is a draft. At the end of the day, you want your response to be submitted. So items to note. Okay. Responses must be submitted through eProcurement. Again, there are no paper bids unless it's deemed a paper bid, and you would know that because that's a conversation that will be had between the vendor and the user. But the norm is all bids are now electronic. Addenda, you must acknowledge in the system and provide acknowledgement forms if required. responses, fill out all PDF forms, scan and upload as an attachment. Also, fill in the total price in the line provided. Submit detailed pricing on sheets provided. For RFPs, request for proposals, enter 0.01 into the and enter pricing on sheets provided. Because with RFPs, there's no money involved. It's another sheet that's within that RFP that speaks to pricing, and that's where you'll put your pricing in. So at that point, it's not electronic. For groups, all groups must be bidded on. But if you're not submitting, if you're having a no bid for a group, you must put in 10 zeros and a 1. The system will not accept a blank line item. It won't accept that. And it won't accept it won't accept a NA or alpha value. It has to be a numeric value. So it's 10 zeros, it's 0.91 zeros and a 1 for all lines on the groups that you're not going to be bidding. And if in the event, if you have any questions pertaining to your solicitation, please contact our help desk at 312-744-HELP or contact customer support at cityofchicago.org. We have a level 1 and a level 2 for assistance. So here in this slide, we're speaking to online discussion. See up here? Okay, so it's not in the blue area, but it's right up under the negotiations where it says warning. This is when you know that you have there's an error. It's going to tell you what it is. The system is going to tell you exactly what you are missing. Okay, and this example is just saying that it's been amended and that this that amendment has not been acknowledged. You have to acknowledge this addendum. It's going to be a comma behind it. It's going to be a comma behind it in the number. But whatever the error may be, on the requirements field, in the requirements area, or even if it's on your lines area where you're trying to bid or put your proposal there, wherever is the error, it is going to be a warning at the top of this page to tell you exactly what is missing. And you go back to that area and you correct it there. This slide, we're speaking to online discussion actions. Over to the far right, there's a drop-down menu for you vendors and for procurement specialists as well. But this is for online discussions for the vendor and procurement, the specialist who's doing the contract for the user. You're going to select online discussions. You have a question, you have a suggestion, you have a need to know. You just want to talk to the vendor. You just want to talk to the procurement specialist. Say hi. You would select online discussions, which is the first line on the drop-down menu, and then you would hit go. Once you hit go, I'm sorry.
Pam,
yes,
it is now 3:01. If I don't.
Oh,
I don't
this
know
clock. I'm
what
sorry,
slides
this
you have.
clock in here doesn't say. Okay, all right.
Not a
We got-
problem.
Okay, thank
I
you.
just wanted you to know, so because I don't know if some of the folks have questions or not,
Okay,
but I just wanted you to know what time it is. All right.
thank you, love. We're almost done. Okay, so here we're at online discussions, and this is where you do your new messaging. In this example right here, we show you that there's been a back and a forth discussion between the specialist and the vendor. We want to show you that it resides right here for online discussions. New message is when you want to send a message to the specialist. So here you're going to have your subject, put the spec number there, and then the colon, and whatever is your subject matter, and then in the message box, you write your message. If you need to add any attachments, you're able to do so, and then you hit send. And that's going to go directly to the procurement specialist of the RFP. Now, it's also saying that, hey, since you've been in this solicitation, we've uploaded an amendment. You got to go now and acknowledge. So you must acknowledge the fact that there is an amendment, and you hit yes. And it'll be acknowledged. This is the end of the solicitation part right here. If you see to the far right at the bottom, it reads submit, but the submit button is grayed out. So you can't submit, right? So what the system wants you to do, you would think that you should click the box and then put in your name and then put in your title. No, you must do the exact opposite of that. Put in your name, put in your title, then click the by submitting button. Click the box by submitting a bid. Click in that box after you put in your name and your title. Then the submit button will be highlighted and you can submit your solicitation. Once you have submitted your solicitation, you will receive within 24 hours a confirmation of your submission. And it's going to read to you that this is the confirmation of your quote submission and its title. It's going to have your business name there and your quote number. And it's going to speak to the RFQ itself. And it's going to inform you that on this day you submitted it. And so that's for you, vendor, to know that you have submitted an active draft and we have received. Okay. In the event that you have not received an active, you can always contact and you know that your response status is active. You can contact customer support at cityofchicago.org and inform, and then we'll have to look into it. Let's see. You must check for an addendum that may be issued after you receive. So you should get an email that informs you that a resubmission is required. Just keep watching your solicitation to ensure that an addendum has not been generated. But any vendor who has submitted an active solicitation, you should get an email from the procurement specialist that there is now an addendum. This is our online training materials as we went through the orange ribbon at the top. Online training materials here to your left. This is for registration and profiling updates. So this is how you update your vendor record. To the right is the supplier response and submissions, all things pertaining to the RFQ. Anything that is that is written, you click on it to get you get a PDF document you can read. Video means just that. It'll show you a video of the document that you're actually reading. In the middle, where it reads about the bid opportunity information and reviewing your company information, this is actually the finance portion where you can look at invoices and your invoicing, your order history, and receipts and return. I can't speak to that, that's finance. And then at the bottom of that, it is our delegate agencies for their delegate agency vendors. Can't speak to that either. This is our help page. And again, for any time that you need assistance that's outside of what the training materials can help you through, contact 312-744-HELP via phone or our customer support at chicago.gov. This ends my portion of the presentation. I hope that you may have questions for me that I have to ask for you. If not, thank you so very much for coming and enjoy your day.
All right. Thank you so much, Pam, for that great information. If you have a question for Pam, feel free to put it in the Q&A panel and we'll ask her that now. While we're waiting to see if there's any questions that will arise, Pam, at this time, because I don't see any questions at the moment. If I don't see any, I want to thank you so much for that information. I want to thank our attendees for attending the workshops today. And I will say that we have online classes that you can always go to. So if you're looking for that, feel free to. Rodney is going to put in the links where you can find the workshop PowerPoint presentation, and you can find the recordings in YouTube. And if there are no further questions, Rodney, do you have any questions that were sent directly to you? If not, Pam, do you want to say a last word or two?
Just again, just thank you for coming. And again, please, if you have any questions concerning a solicitation that you may be interested in, contact, you can view this video and contact help by phone or by email.
All righty, just giving a few extra seconds just in case somebody doesn't type fast like I don't do. I don't type fast either, so
There are no, I don't know if there are participants there.
there are. All righty. Well, I don't see anything. So I want to thank all of you for attending. And if you, like Pam said, if you have any questions, feel free to feel free to send her an email or something for that. And I will put in the chat area for everyone the actual links. Just give us until Friday to get up this actual workshop online. But if there are no further questions, thank you so much for attending. Stay safe, stay well, wash your hands, social distance, wear your mask, get your COVID shot, get your booster shot if you need to, do whatever it takes so that we can come back together, so that we can do this face to face at some point, so that we can network with you and give you any information that you may need. Make sure, if you like, fill out the evaluation afterwards and let me know if there's any other topics. We're starting our, preparing to start our topics for 2022. So if there is something that you would like to know more about, feel free to put in the comments area that information. If there's no other questions, we will see you next time. Thanks so much for coming. Thanks, Pam.